What if I told you the number you've been worrying about, your testosterone level, might be completely normal for your age, even if it feels like everything has slowed down? Here's the truth almost nobody explains clearly. Healthy testosterone at 50 does not look like it did at 25, and it was never supposed to. So today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's typical at 50, 60, and 70, what's normal, what's actually low, and what most men miss when they panic over a single lab result. And stick with me because the most important thing, the one factor that matters more than your raw number, I'm saving that for the end. Let me start by clearing up the biggest misunderstanding I see. Men hear low testosterone and they picture a cliff. The reality is a gentle slope. After about age 30, the average man's testosterone declines roughly 1% per year. 1%. That's slow. That means the change from one birthday to the next is almost invisible, but stretched across 20 or 30 years, it adds up to something you can feel. The mistake is blaming this morning's tiredness on a number that's been drifting quietly for 2 decades. Your body is adapting the whole way. Understanding that takes the fear out of it, and fear is the thing that makes men do something foolish. So let's talk decades. In your 50s, here's what's generally going on. Most men in this range still sit comfortably inside the normal laboratory window, and that window is wide. A healthy 50-year-old can have a total testosterone level anywhere across a broad range and be perfectly fine. What you'll often notice in this decade isn't a collapse, it's a softening. Recovery after a hard workout takes a little longer. Maybe your motivation in the afternoon dips where it used to hold steady. Maybe building muscle takes more deliberate effort than it once did. None of that automatically means you're deficient. Here's what most men miss in their 50s. The symptoms that get blamed on testosterone, low energy, poor sleep, soft strength, a thicker waistline, are very often driven by lifestyle, stress, and sleep debt, not by the hormone itself. In fact, gaining fat can lower testosterone, and lower testosterone makes it easier to gain fat. It's a loop. The good news is a loop can be broken from either side. This is the decade where strength training, protein, and real sleep give you the biggest return because you still have so much to work with. Now your 60s. This is where the conversation usually gets more honest. By 60, a meaningful share of men do drift toward the lower end of normal, and some cross into genuinely low territory. What's typical here is a more noticeable change in body composition, muscle gets harder to hold on to, and that matters far beyond the mirror. Muscle is your metabolic engine, your stability, your protection against falls and frailty down the road. So in your 60s, healthy testosterone is less about chasing a youthful number and more about protecting function. The men who do best in this decade are the ones who keep lifting something heavy, who keep moving with intention, and who don't accept the idea that decline is simply their identity now. Low testosterone in your 60s can show up as flat mood, fading drive, weaker erections, and stubborn fatigue. But here's the catch. Those same symptoms overlap heavily with thyroid issues, blood sugar problems, medication side effects, and depression. That's why a single number on a lab sheet should never be the whole story. Context is everything. And if you want faster, longer-lasting results, I've put the exact natural support I recommend in the link below this video. It's the same approach I'd give a friend your age who wanted to feel sharper, stronger, and more like himself again, simple, practical, and built around how a man's body actually works after 50. Now let's talk about your 70s. A lot of men assume this is the decade where you just surrender. I want to push back on that. Yes, average testosterone is lower at 70 than it was at 50. That's expected. That's biology, and it is not a personal failure. But lower is not the same as broken. Plenty of men in their 70s are vital, strong, mentally sharp, and engaged with life. What changes in this decade is your margin for error. You can no longer coast. Sleep matters more. Protein matters more. Older men actually need more protein per meal to trigger muscle repair, not less. Resistance training isn't optional anymore. It's medicine. The 70-year-olds who stay independent and capable are almost never the ones with the highest hormone levels. They're the ones who never stopped using their bodies. Function follows use. That's the quiet rule that runs through every one of these decades. So let me give you the through line, the thing I promised at the start, the factor that matters more than your raw testosterone number at any age. It's this: how sensitive your body is to the testosterone you already have, and how well the rest of your system is running. You can have a good number on paper and feel terrible if your sleep is wrecked, your blood sugar is swinging, you're carrying too much belly fat, and you're under relentless stress. And you can have a more modest number and feel genuinely strong if those foundations are solid. Testosterone doesn't work in a vacuum. It works inside a body. So before any man fixates on raising a number, the real question is, have I given my body the conditions where its own hormones can actually do their job? Deep sleep, which is when most of your testosterone is produced. Strength training, which signals your body to stay capable. Enough protein and the right minerals, zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, which are the raw materials, and keeping body fat in a reasonable range, because excess fat quietly converts testosterone into estrogen. Get those right, and you've done more than any single lab value can tell you. Here's what I want you to take away. There is no one magic number you're supposed to hit at 50, 60, or 70. There's a healthy range, and there's how you feel and function inside it. And the second part is far more in your control than you've been led to believe. If your energy, your drive, or your strength have genuinely changed, that's worth taking to a doctor and getting properly tested, looking at the full picture, not one isolated value. But don't let a number on a page convince you that your best decades are behind you. They don't have to be. So if any of this hit home, if you're ready to actually feel stronger and more like yourself again, go ahead and click the link in the description. I've laid out the natural support and the exact steps I trust in one place, so you can start today instead of someday. You've still got real strength in you. The job now is to protect it, use it, and give your body what it needs to keep showing up for you. Stay strong, take care of yourself, and remember, you are not too old to feel good again. Just keep in mind this is general education, not medical advice, so always talk with your own doctor about your health and before making any changes.